to mother as the not mom is to say, I am a safe adult who will never do anything unsafe or unkind to your child. I will show up when I'm invited to show up. I will help them when they ask for help, so that when they ask for help at 2 and 3, they will ask for help at 12 and 13. They will ask for help at 22, 23.
Exactly.
It's just different. It's different kind of help.
Hey friends, welcome to the Ruth Jo Simons podcast. This month, in honor of Mother's Day, I am sitting down with a couple of good friends to talk about the wonderful and sometimes crazy journey of motherhood. Today's conversation is with my friend Annie Downs, who invests her life as a spiritual mom. She is a best-selling author, speaker, and very well-known podcast host. She has poured into thousands of women through her ministry, and I can't wait for you to hear her thoughts on what it means to be a spiritual mama. Annie F. Downs, I am so excited to see your face and to be on this podcast together. Oh my goodness, thank you for being here.
I'm so happy. Thank you for having me. This is it's such an honor every time I get to talk to you, but particularly in this topic, what a gift you're offering all of us to go like mothering is such a big word. It is not a small, skinny word. It's a big word. And so thank you for letting me talk about it.
Oh my goodness. Well, when we talked about having this like an honor of Mother's Day series, even I chuckled and I was like, I want Annie on this. And we both chuckled because we were like, well, you're not a mom to biological children or children in your home. You're a single woman, but I see you do this so well, this idea of spiritually mothering and investing in children and investing in younger people in your life and giving of your life that way. And so tell our listeners, I mean, I know that our listeners already know who you are, but tell them a little bit of like your current season and how even this topic has become something dear to your heart.
Well, I'll start by telling you that one of the things my counselor helped me do, as you said, I'm not married yet. I don't have any kids, but this is not the life I thought I'd have. I thought my life would look more like yours. And like a lot of our friends listening that I get married. I mean, you just kind of don't think there's another life, especially in the way I grew up. In the church I grew up in, there was just kind of one path to abundant life. And I don't think it was necessarily taught. I think it was more caught, that there was just like, here's what we're preparing you for. I think some of that's really good. I think that's important. I think it also missed on what's going to happen if that doesn't come along. And so what my counselor helped me do a couple of years ago, I'm 44. And what my counselor helped me do a few years ago is walk through like, hey, you need to grieve that you were never a wife or a mom in your 20s. And then when I crossed over to being 40, she said, you need to grieve that you were never a wife or a mom in your 40s. And the reason I tell you that on the front side of this is that the real key to unlocking mothering, if you are not a biological or adoptive or foster mom, is to grieve that you aren't any of those things. The key that really unlocked me being able to run in this lane and call it what it is and call it mothering was going, oh, there was a place that I have a gift, I have a skill set, I have a place in my heart where I wanted this to be true. That was not true. But that does not change that place in me exists. But once I really grieved what I didn't get to do, it opened the door for me and the Lord, really. It gave permission to God. You know, it says in scripture, he stands at the door and knocks. So it just gave him, I opened the door that he was knocking on. And I started going, where am I mothering? If I'm not a mom in my home, where am I mothering? And I started to realize that I'd always been like a nanny. And I'd always been like, my friends' kids love me. I am very fun. I am like,
you are.
My best hour is the witching hour. But when y'all are tired, I'm leaving work and I am dying to be with kids. I am like ready to party. And y'all are making dinner and you're trying to get everybody's homework done. And I'm coming over to play basketball, right?
Oh my goodness.
And so the more I leaned into that, I was already doing those behaviors, Ruth, right? I was already leading a small group at church. I was already teaching at Crosspoint on a Sunday morning. once I kind of was able to grieve what I wasn't getting to do, I started going, wait, am I mothering? Am I a mothering voice to my church? Yes. Am I a mothering voice to my small group? Yes. Now, I'm only the age of an older sister, right? Like you and I are kind of the aunts of the faith right now. We're not necessarily the Beth Moores, we're not the mothers right now. Beth Moore, John Eldridge, those are kind of the like mother and father of our faith currently. You and I are kind of the aunts, I'm kind of looking at it like I'm not your peer, most people that I'm leading. But I'm also not your mom quite. I'm kind of something cooler in the middle.
I love it.
And so we get to be that. So that's, really, and I've seen it. We can dive into any of these, but I think the places I see myself mothering the most are in my church, in my friends' kids' lives, and then in my own family where I have 7 nieces and nephews that are all under 4 or 4 and under. And so I'm a part of all of those. I'm mothering in all of those places. I would not have known to call it that a decade ago.
I thank you so much for putting all that out there, because I feel like I just collectively feel like there's just a sigh of relief for all of our listeners who might go, wow, I'm not where I thought I would be. And for anyone who's listening who might be like, was this episode meant for me or not? And I think that you just gave this permission to reminder to just grieve what you didn't get to experience in the way you thought you would. But that unlocking of what could be is a whole other world that we don't talk about enough. And so I think, so thank you, Annie. That's just, it's really incredible because I've seen it, I've seen it at a distance, but I don't live in your community. I don't go to your church. I'm not in your world in Nashville. And so I don't always get to experience that. But I think this topic intrigued me so much because as somebody with 6 kids and who has always felt incredibly grateful for, I have a best friend from college who is my age. She is 49 and never married, does not have children. And I look back on my entire motherhood journey, and my oldest is 23 now, and I can think of all the ways in which they think of Auntie Tara as having made such an impression in their lives. They know that she has known when they've hurt. She's known when to pray for things. She's obviously, when they were little, she was even the one who came over with cookies or helped put them to bed and gave Troy and I a night off. But I think there are times when we are tempted to think of it more like, when you said, I think what you just said earlier, like sometimes you think of yourself as like the nanny or the babysitter, but mothering is so much more than that. It's not just that, hey, as a mom who was so weary in those little years, it could be easy for me to think of my single friend as, thank you for doing me a favor for coming over and just like giving me a night off so I could go on a date with my husband. Yes, that's a great ministry and that's incredible. But I came to realize that what she was offering and giving was so much more than just a handoff for a minute, but that she actually was investing her life with my children and they're forever changed by it. So I think even just, you started doing this a little bit, but could you just like help give some flesh to what mothering might mean? So like, what do we mean by that? Because we clearly obviously think mothering is when you have a gaggle of kids and you raise them. And so what does this look like when you are mothering your friends' children or you're investing in your community?
I probably haven't done the 10,000 hours to write this definition, but I'm going to give you a definition of parenting because I think parenting is helping eternal souls become the adults that they actually want to be. And the followers of Christ that they actually want to be. And so mothering is half of that, right? I think there are single guys in the world and that need this invitation to father too, that need the invitation to like, when you're not just coaching, you're fathering. You're not just hanging out with the youth group kids, you're fathering them. And so we get to do that too. I get to do that too as a mother voice. And so for me, I'm thinking right now because I call them my mini BFFs, right? My best friend's kids.
I love it.
The oldest one is graduating high school coming up soon. And I will be in New York for his graduation party. And I've been processing if I fly back to Georgia. And I thought, whatever you do for this one, you got to do for the 9 coming after, right? And I thought, I'm flying. I'm flying because I played with him when he was 2 and 1. I did the time to mother and to help. I need to still be there because he's going to college a couple of hours from me. He's going to college I'm between him and his parents, distance wise, when he goes to school. And so when he picked a school, he said, "Oh, great, you'll be able to come to my sporting events." And I was like,
my goodness.
Oh, yes, I will. Yes. And so the reason I'm doing a long answer to your question, I'm sorry to tell you, but the reason I'm telling you all this is that he didn't start thinking that when he was 18. He knew when he was 2, when I was helping him tie his shoe, when I was telling him to be kind to his sister, when I was showing up at baseball game. Now, I haven't done this perfectly. I'm one, but I'm giving you examples because you asked. I certainly don't want anyone to hear me saying that I've been awesome at this in every step, because I've missed a lot of things for my friends' kids because I wanted to watch TV and eat tater tots or something, right? So, but I think to mother as the not mom is to say, I am a safe adult who will never do anything unsafe or unkind to your child. I will show up when I'm invited to show up. I will help them when they ask for help, so that when they ask for help at 2 and 3, they will ask for help at 12 and 13. They will ask for help at 22, 23.
Exactly.
It's just different. It's different kind of help. Once they have so me and this same kid, the 18-year-old, we both had a breakup the same week last year. And his mom told me, "Oh, did you hear so-and-so broke up?" So I texted him. I was like, "Bro, we're in it. You and me, we're in it." He was like, "I'm so sorry. I hope you get okay." I mean, so all of a sudden, this kid who I helped tie his shoes, he's consoling me. I'm consoling him over breakups, right? And so I think the mothering is to say, are they seeing my life? Are they seeing me show up? And are they able to ask me questions? And am I safe? Am I safe?
Yes.
And so, because what y'all need, Ruth, is you need to know I can walk away from Annie and my kids and not wonder what she will say, show, or do. And so I am that adult. I am that adult. No parent has to worry what I mean. I'm going to say something stupid. I mean, I'll make dumb jokes, but I'm not going to say or do or show anything inappropriate or unkind. And so I think that's what parenting looks like, is coming alongside what the parents are already doing, always being pro-parent and always being a listening ear and showing up when you can show up.
Have you ever had a situation where somebody is coming to you with something that they haven't talked to their parents about?
We're just getting to that age. We're just getting there where that has happened 1 or 2 times with a couple of them. The thing that happens most right now probably is I'm around. It's really interesting, Ruth. My hometown friends in Georgia have high schoolers. We're all the parents I'm going to tell you about are the same age. My hometown friends have high schoolers. My Nashville friends have elementary. My New York friends have babies. And everybody's 40. Every parent is 40. And so in Nashville, I'm dealing mostly with middle schoolers right now and upper elementary. So it looks more like we'll sit on the porch after dinner and the kid will tell me something like, "Man, this weird thing happened at school today." Or, "Oh yeah." And I'll say, "How was sports?" or "How was whatever?" And I'll go, "Yeah, have you gotten to tell your dad that? Because I bet your dad would have some really insightful stuff around that." And then the kid will say yes or no. And then I go and rat that kid out as soon as he's in bed. I rat kids out all the time. I am tattling everything. There is not a thing I don't tell parents, because I'm never promising a kid that I'm going to not tell their parents something, because I don't want kids to see modeled that there are adults that should keep secrets with you. That is not safe. And so I don't want to model that I'm an adult who will keep a secret with them from their parents. So instead, if they say, "Kid, please don't tell anybody this," I always say, "I promise I would never tell anyone who doesn't love you anything that you're telling me." And that kind of gets me the out of, I'm going to go rat to your parents every bit of this. And then I go to the parents, I go, "Do not tell them I told you this, but ask this one specific question." So but yeah, I don't keep secrets with kids.
Oh my goodness. So good. I go back to, I love that you gave that definition of parenting about making them,
Mm.
how did you put it? Prepared for heaven.
Eternal
So like,
souls
oh,
that get
so
to
the
be
eternal souls.
exactly who they
Yeah.
want to be. Yeah.
Yes. And I think about how, um, everything you just described, apart from the fact that you go home at night, I'm like, that's my job as a mom, right? Like my job is
Mm.
to be a safe adult, to be somebody who says what you ask for help for at 2 will be the same relationship, a little different, but it'll set the
Yes.
course for you asking help when you're 12 and when you're 23. And I think about how in my mothering journey, the number one thing I feel like that has made all the difference. Well, there's probably two main things is that we talk a lot, that there's, as we normalize conversation
Mm-hmm.
all the time. But then number two is just that I go first, that I'm always sharing where I'm struggling
Yeah.
in my walk with the Lord, how I don't want to read my Bible sometimes and how I deal with that, or what
Yes.
I am, how I'm disappointed in people, or where I felt betrayed and how I'm going to the Lord about it. And so you don't say the same exact things when they're 2, but you can
Yeah.
share when your heart is hurting.
That's right.
And then
That's right.
when they get older, it's, people will write me or send me messages saying, how do you get your, young adult boys to talk to you? And I go, well, I think we just kept doing it so that it
Mm.
doesn't seem strange when my relationship with my 23-year-old now is more like a little bit more peer to peer. He's like one of my best
Mm-hmm.
friends, but that conversation has been built over time where we both
Yes.
know that we're going to come and be safe and be real and then point to Jesus and help each
Yes.
other be ready and
Yes.
fit for heaven. And so,
And the other thing we're modeling for them, I think, you can totally correct me on this, Ruth, because again, I do not have kids in my house. I do think the adult, the parent, and the Annie, I think that the parenting voice should be the pursuer of relationship. I think things go sideways when we expect the kids, when we wait on the kids to
absolutely.
pursue us, and especially when they get 17, 16, 17, 18. I don't want to depend on a child in my life to fill my bucket relationally. I
So
want to
good. Yes.
pursue them and
Hmm.
say, hey, I'm always going to be the adult who comes to you because I love being around you. Now, you can say no. You don't have to answer my call. You don't have to answer my text. There is no pressure. But I want you to always know I wish I was hanging out with you, because I think that is how God feels about us. And I think what we model as a parenting voice is going, hey, I'm coming to you, and you can decide what happens from there. But that is how God is with me. God is not
So
waiting
good.
on me to pursue him, but in return, in our relationship, I do love going to the Lord. And so I really, I think part of that is my own upbringing, is that my parents are very smart, and they both have very professional careers. And I think they did a great job pursuing my brain. And there are
Mm,
times where I think, oh, I wonder if there was a deeper pursuit of my heart
mm.
that and now they did a great job. Look, I'm a perfectly fine person. I've gone to counseling for a long time, but haven't we all? But I think the thing I've learned as an adult is like, oh, I love pursuing kids and
Mm,
what kids love because of what my parents did right, and because of what
mhm,
God models for me. I put all
mhm.
those together, and then I think things can get squirrely when adults expect the kids to pursue them relationally.
Totally. I'm so glad you brought that up because I think one of the things that we miss sometimes is that um, we think that if there's an issue, they'll bring it up at some level, at some point. And
Yeah.
we sometimes get intimidated, especially in the teen years. I think it's easy to be
Yes.
like, "Ooh, I don't want to like get in their business or make them feel like I'm prying or whatever." So one way that I found that's really helpful for me is that I try to make it so that I'm not always busy. I don't know how else to say this. It's not like even I have to
Mm.
be like, "Hi, I would love to have a conversation with you about blah, 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 blah," but rather just do something together in which I don't
Yes.
like, I'm not distracted. So I'm not
Yeah.
multitasking. I'm not on my phone. I'm not, and maybe I can ask a question like, so tell me like, if you could change one thing right now, what would you change? Like, what's that one thing that you just wish like snap your fingers and make it go away? That's a good pursuing question. But I sometimes
Yeah.
find that if you just don't schedule your evening with a whole lot of like, we're going to do all these things and you just sit, like you just described, sit on the porch after dinner and sip some tea or eat your ice cream, sometimes there's just that slowness and that availability makes it almost feels like pursuit in itself. The action is pursuit, right? And so
yes, just putting down your phone can feel like pursuit too,
right?
kids.
Oh, so much. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want to pivot a little bit and say I want to talk about mothering in the church. So that I feel like this is a big topic because we all come from very different church backgrounds. I think you and I go to very different churches as well. I think I am very much, we agree on so many, our churches might do things a little differently. So for example, in our church, elders are men and I do not preach on a Sunday. But I think regardless of what your church tradition is or where your convictions lie with that topic, I think we are suffering from decades of women not mothering as a family in the family of God. So so I just wanted to say right up front, because regardless of where you lie and you're where your church, how your church is structured or what you believe about, preaching and teaching and all those things, doesn't change the fact. It doesn't change the fact that the family of God, the church, the local church is the family of God. And in every family, children and young hearts will be benefited if women get to nurture in the ways and teach and encourage in the ways that they're wired to, and that men get to be dads and fathers in the home and in the family of God as well. And so I want you to speak to that a little bit and just encourage anyone who, regardless of what kind of church they go to, just how they can be involved in a way to say mothering in the church doesn't only look like having a microphone or leading a giant Bible study. Some of us will never do those things, but what does it look like to say, okay, I walk into a church, I'm not a consumer, I'm in the family. What does that look like?
Yes. Well, I think the sentence that comes to my mind first off, Ruth, is when we think about kids, when we think about, the science, all the research, the psychology around children is kids are raised healthiest if they have a mothering voice and a fathering voice. That may not be possible in every home, but you are looking, if you are a home that just has a mothering voice, you are looking for coaches. You are looking for teachers. You are looking for pastors to speak the masculine father voice into your child's life. And if your home is a father voice home, you are looking for mothers to come in and help partner with you. And so we just know sociologically that every family, a family of God, that raises children best when those kids have access to a mothering voice and a fathering voice. Now, in the church, that does not mean from the pulpit on a Sunday morning. I grew up in a church where women did not teach on a Sunday morning, but my small group leader was a female. So our youth pastor may have been a male, but my small group leader was a female. So I was getting both mothering and fathering voices. And so I think back to when I volunteered in the summer in the Mother's Day Out. They had the youth group kids were part of the Mother's Day Out, and we got paid a little bit to help pay towards summer camp, and there were dudes and girlfriends of mine that we were all serving together. So even these little kids in Mother's Day Out were getting experiences with young men and young women that were a generation above them. And so I think the question you can ask yourself, no matter the theology of your church around who preaches and who's elders and who leads from a stage, is where does my mothering voice fit in if I really believe the family of God needs father voices and mother voices?
Absolutely.
And so that's, that can happen in carpool line. That can happen one of those nights at summer camp where everybody in your cabin stays up too late and the counselors do too. I just think there's so many opportunities for us to just be in conversation. And we are not just mothering younger women. We are mothering younger men too. And so there's a lot of opportunity. You know this about me, but for about 6 years of my life in Nashville, one of the primary groups I mothered was the Vanderbilt baseball team. I was only big sister age. I was not the same age as their parents. But man, when they had breakups or couldn't find the laundry detergent or needed to get barbecue and talk about it, I was the phone call. And so I think I also want us to think, when we're thinking through this in the church, mothers don't just mother girls and fathers don't just father boys. We need to be available. You aren't mothering girls in your home. You are mothering boys in your home, right? And so we need to be available in the church, that there is opportunity, whether it's from a pulpit or not, that you are mothering everyone that comes into the house.
Because in my home with 6 young men, I could choose to say, oh, every single thing you ever need to talk about, you go to your dad. I just bake the cookies that go in your lunchbox.
Right.
But that's not the way it is. What the way it is that, yes, mama sometimes knows how to nurture with a meal in a way that's different than dad, or dad knows how to go take them out on a mountain bike ride that mom's not going to go on. So yes, they're different. But it's not that dad's the only one with wisdom. Mom has wisdom. It's not that dad's the only one that can counsel. Mama can counsel in a different way. And I'm not going against dad's wisdom. I will never go against dad's wisdom. I will always point back to us collectively. So it's not an authority issue. It's not that I'm saying like, oh, well, come and listen to me. It's that he is an authority in our home as well. And so we will co-parent together, right? And so I think about that. I'm so grateful that you pointed to that, because I think sometimes we get mixed up. And I guess I'm just trying to make the point that mothering in the church isn't just women just being useful to do some things. Like, okay, I served here. If your gifting is that you want to be hospitality and bake cookies and go, decorate the church, absolutely. I love decorating the church. So like, absolutely. I'm not saying that we're not wired with special giftings. I don't know that I want my husband decorating the church, so I'm so grateful for the women who care about those things. We're throwing a ladies' tea in honor of Mother's Day. And I'm glad the women step up to do something so beautiful that the men probably couldn't pull off, right? A lovely tea. Yes. But I think we just miss out, and the body of Christ misses out when the women stay silent and don't share from their hearts, or don't pray over somebody right in the moment. Like, I can pray over this younger person who's struggling. I can show up at youth group and say, hey, can I come and help at youth group and be more than just somebody who brings 20 bags of chips, but become somebody who is safe and encouraging. Or even while everybody's mingling and at church and there's just a whole lot of small talk happening, I would love to see us sisters in Christ go, I may not be teaching, preaching, leading a whole lot of stuff, but I sure can have a conversation before everybody sits down that is intentional, that opens up the opportunity to have somebody over for dinner later this week. And not just be like, well, I'm going to leave all the big work and the big work of ministry to the people on stage, but rather like we actually get to be moms and dads right in there with all the people who are just standing there going, the younger people who may not have had a real conversation with anybody while they're waiting around at church. I just think about those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, think about the college kids in your church. They have left home. Most of them are not in the city where their mom and dad are, and they do not know how to do life. I did not know how to do life when I got to college. And so luckily for me, at the church I plugged into, there were women and men who said, hey, do y'all want to come over and eat? I mean, there was a woman, you are going to love this. There was a woman named Ann. I could not tell you her last name. I couldn't tell you where her house is. Every Monday night, she made dinner for any college student that would come over. And I bet 50 of us went every Monday. And it was always like Swedish meatballs or big sandwiches or whatever. She just fed us once a week. And I mean, God love her. She's going to have a seat in heaven that is far rows closer than any of mine. Like I'm going to be mowing the grass. She fed college students every Monday night for years. And so it is this, you're saying it just right, Ruth. It's this opportunity in our church, in our churches to go, our theology is sound, and what our church, I agree with the theology of whatever churches you go to. You want to agree with the theology about who teaches on Sundays and who helps the pastor when they lead and all the things. And then you go, now what is my seat here? If I'm a female and I have mothering, and now there are some women who don't really have mothering in their souls. I do not have casserole in my soul. I cannot tell you, I do not make a casserole for nothing. I don't like traveling food. That is just not my gifting. But I can show up and hug people, and I can be the greeter. I mean, Ruth, you have not seen me more. I call it, I hope this is okay, cut it if you hate it. I call it people drunk. When I get to be a greeter, I am undone. I am so happy.
You would be the best greeter. Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Welcoming people in, that is mothering. That's not the same mothering as nurturing. But when people get to a home and they feel like someone sees them, that is the mothering in me. And I love doing that. So every one of our friends listening, whether you're an empty nester, whether you've never had kids, whether you're dealing with, listen, you want me to tell you who can have the most spiritual power in mothering is the people that are actively dealing with infertility. Those women, when they step in and do that mothering gift, something happens in the spiritual that so outweighs what I'm able to do and what you're able to do, because they are giving out of their lack. And so, man, if you are dealing with infertility right now and you want to see God active in your life, lean on your mothering gift and tell the devil he doesn't have a seat here. And that will shake some things up.
So good. Annie, I mean, this is such a gift. It's such a gift that you're here to talk about this, because I think there are so many opportunities here for those of us who are dealing with a whole house full of kids, and those of us who are waiting on what the Lord has for them in their homes and in their live contacts. But everything we described today is actually accessible for every single one of us as women to invest right where we are to the people around us. And so what would be a final word to a single sister who might be listening? How could she take this and kind of begin and not get overwhelmed, but like even begin this week?
I mean, I think first is pick one of your friends that have kids, call and ask if you can come eat dinner. Single women wait a lot for invitation from their married friends. And that's okay. I understand you think you don't want to get in the way. You don't want to bother them. They may not have enough food. But the other side of the coin is the married women. So I can imagine this was your life, Ruth, when all the kids were in the house and they were, you had 6 boys just absolutely, pirates versus soldiers or something, just going nuts. You thought there is no world that a single woman wants to come over here.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, nobody's going to sign up to deal with chaos like this.
And the Annies in your life are dying to get in the middle of that because our house is so quiet. Our mutual friend, Brooke Wardock, just stayed at my house for 3 nights. And the first morning she woke up and she said, I had no idea what time it is because your house is so quiet. And because she has 5 kids, her house is never quiet. And so the thing I would say is to my married friends, invite your single friend over. Don't say no for us. We will say no for ourselves if we can't do it. And if you're single, invite yourself over. Even if you say, hey, I'll bring my own dinner, but can I come sit with y'all? Can I come right after work? Can I come in? So that would be the first step. And then I would also say, you need to do some real heart work around what you need to grieve and what you need to step into, because those go hand in hand. And so figure out what you need to grieve. If there's nothing, great, then the door is open to step in. But if there's something to grieve it. And at the same time, step into whatever the open door to mothering is for you. And Ruth, you know this about me. I could jump out of my seat telling you this. I am so fulfilled. My life is so full. I am so loved. I mean, I sat at a concert with a family. The dad was the singer, and it's Dave Barnes, and he sings the song "God Gave Me You." He said, "God gave me you for the ups and downs." Sitting next to me was his 11-year-old, and he just held my hand, and I was sobbing. I was sobbing because this little 11-year-old is holding my hand during God Gave Me You while his dad is singing to us. And I thought, what more could I ask for? What more could I ask for? I am so loved. I am so remembered and cared for. I do not have exactly what I want, but I am so loved. If I would never have stepped into the open doors to mothering, I would not know how loved I am. And I still hold that I want to get married. I still hold the desire, and I still hold the hope. And I am so loved. I am so loved. And my life is so fulfilled because I grieved what I didn't have and stepped into the open doors God had for me. And on the other side of that open door was more love than I ever knew.
So, so good. Thank you, friend. You are such a gift. Oh, friend. Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, there is so much here to unpack. And friends, if you're listening, I'm guessing you're going to want to start right back at the beginning and take some notes. Annie has said so many incredible things today for us to implement and to sit with and to just do a little introspection on how we can take the very things that God's given us or has not given us yet in our lives to his glory and for our good and for the good of those around us. So Annie, as we close, I want my listeners to know what you're working on. Do you have anything you can tease out or tell us about?
What are we working on? I mean, the most fun thing is I'm going on tour this fall with CAIN. Do you know CAIN, the band?
Of course.
My gosh.
And oh my goodness, you need a watercolors,
Can you believe it?
Right? You just
40 cities. It's going to be so fun. So all that, you can get tickets, enjoy it. So that's kind of the thing we're prepping for. We're meeting, we're texting about it all the time. It's not a tour that's ever happened before. No one there, our CCM artists, our Christian artists, traditionally don't take a speaker with them unless they're doing a gospel presentation. And instead, CAIN is going, let's build a variety show that has games and fun and laughter and teaching and singing. And it's just like nothing we've ever been to. So that's the thing that's front of my mind right now, because we're working on it. And we start in September. So nobody's sold out yet. So they're getting close. So if y'all want tickets, CAINtheband.com.
We'll definitely put it in the show notes. Well, let everybody know where they can find you and stay connected.
Oh, yeah. It's embarrassingly easy. It's Annie F. Downs. F is in fancy. Annie F. Downs everywhere. That is how you can find me. And anything I can do, for any of our single friends, we have Single Purpose League. That is a group where we talk about this. I mean, literally, my next call after you is a podcast I'm recording with Ryan Weckenman, who is a single lead pastor. And we're talking about how do you fall in love with your life for Single Purpose League. And so any of our single friends, singlepurposeleague.com is a great place. There's about 2,000 single women in it right now. And we just talk about how do you fall in love with the life that you have while you hold the desires that you hold. And that's how you can find me.
Perfect. Well, friend, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I love this conversation. Love you too.